A 200,000 mile Porsche Boxster sounds unbelievable, but I've got a bridge to sell you, and I've got a 200,000 mile Porsche Boxster to sell you. So I've got some friends that own a dealership in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they called me out of the blue one day, and they were like, do you want the cheapest Boxster in the nation? And I was like, I don't think so. That sounds expensive. I mean, the cheapest car you can buy might be the most expensive. But they told me this truly was the cheapest. It was a 200,000 mile Porsche Boxster for $9,000, and they would deliver it for that. So I said, okay. I sent them the money. They showed up 2 days later with this thing on a trailer, so that was a bad sign to start. I thought they were just going to drive the car to me. But they showed up on the trailer, unloaded it, and honestly, it looked pretty great. It had a good ownership history. 2 owners before me. One was a PCA member, so the car had been religiously maintained, and I figured, what could really go wrong, right? It's just the car famous for IMS bearing failures, totally losing the motors if you park them anywhere cold and start them, and in general, really expensive repairs. So I get this car home, start doing the inspection, and everything's coming up green. Way better than I ever expected. The tires are Michelin Pilot Sports, which is a little bit unbelievable for a $9,000 car. That's $2,000 worth of tires. Everything works except for the rear speakers. I think there's a broken speaker grill in the driver door. Random plastics, 200,000 mile wear is what this car is adding up to. So we start troubleshooting the issues that it has, which are, of course, the tops on the 986s are kind of famous for not closing. And then the windows leak, and you just end up with a whole lot of issues. Water can get in, so you have to get the top sorted out. It's like a $2 fix. I thought it was going to cost me a full top, but instead you just take some elastic that you pick up at Walmart or, whatever craft store is close, and you open the top about halfway and you staple in some new elastic, and that is all you need to pull the top back into place when it closes. So for $2, we had the top sorted out. We did some maintenance on it, and we immediately took it to Porsche Palooza. Because what else do you present at a prestigious Porsche show other than a car that costs less than most people's seatbelt custom color costs? So it turns out in a field of like 918s and brand new 911 Turbo S's and vintage Porsche race cars, nobody actually cares that you brought a super high mile Boxster. So we just went out and enjoyed it. We did drive after drive. We drove it at the limit for quite a while, and it was unbelievably enjoyable. And I bought the Boxster as a Turbo S guy. I, through and through, am a big power, all-wheel drive, all-wheel steer Porsche fan. That's all I want out of a Porsche, and it makes my heart happy. So I went into the Boxster thinking it was going to be absolutely terrible, but instead, it was actually really rewarding. Now, this car is only the 5-speed, so it's always turning a lot of RPM, even on the highway drives, and even in the twisties, you're doing a lot of second to third shifting. And personally, I'd prefer if that was going through a PDK, but the Boxster also made the drive a very enjoyable time. So I originally bought it for $9,000, which was wildly cheap for the time. These cars transact at like the cheapest ones you can find are like $14,000, $16,000. So I was doing pretty well at $9,000. And I put a system in it. I did an Atoto head unit with CarPlay so we could make our drives even more enjoyable. The modern features definitely help. And then I got the car back home after the trip, and I sold it immediately for $10,000. So I sold the car to a subscriber, and he drove it for 2 years. And I hadn't hit 200,000 miles when I sold it to him. I was at, I think, 197,000 miles. There was a little ways to go. I wanted to roll it over 200,000, but also I was a little scared that the car might take a value hit at 200,000. I thought I could lose up to $100 if it actually hit 200,000 miles while I had it. And I didn't want to deprive the next owner of that milestone, because having a 200,000 mile Porsche is a milestone. There can't be more than a handful of them in the world. They're more reliable than you think, but we could probably ballpark it at like 100 of them have hit 200,000 miles. It's pretty rare. The owners love them, but they don't put a bunch of miles on them. It's just a rare combo. I sold it to a subscriber in Texas, and this year, 1 week before Porsche Palooza, I get an email, and the same subscriber said, do you want to buy back your Boxster? And I was like, were you reading my mind? Because Porsche Palooza's in a week, and I need a car. So he had taken care of the car, he had kept up on the maintenance, everything was in great shape. I showed back up to pick up the car, and I was like, this is exactly what I remember. I don't think anything changed. It was still super clean. I picked it up freshly detailed, drove it all the way back to Wichita, and then we had a little bit of maintenance to do. So I wasn't sure when the last time it had been serviced was, other than oil changes and everything. So we did plugs, coils, the top needed elastic again. So I had to spend $2 more, which is a stretch. But We got that done. Everything was working properly again, and we took it back to Porsche Palooza. Now, I bought it back from that subscriber at a great price. He offered it to me as one of those deals that you couldn't refuse. So I picked it back up and we drove it straight back to Arkansas for another incredible Porsche Palooza. The car did great, as you would expect, no problems at all, and I finally got to hit 200,000 miles. I was a little less scared of hitting it, and I was even happier. While I was at Porsche Palooza, there was another guy there that owns a enthusiast car dealership, and he had a 200,000 mile Cayman, which is also kind of unheard of. So he said, I want to buy that Boxster, and we figured out a deal right then. They were like, let me go get the checkbook and we'll write you a check right now on the spot. So I sold the car to them. I didn't want to walk home, so I took $1,000 off. And I took the car back home and told them to come pick it up. And they came and picked it up about a week later. And they drove it back to Arkansas, just piling on the miles. It must be at 202,000 by now. And this has all happened in a relatively short time frame. And we're putting thousands of miles per week on this car. And it just keeps eating the miles up. And it runs like a champ. Everything works great now. It's got a solid system with CarPlay. So it kind of feels like you're in a modern Porsche. And you've got a manual for the engagement. I will say that manual, I think it's a factory clutch at 200,000 miles, and it's starting to feel like it could use a clutch. But it's honestly not a big job. I kind of wanted to do it, but everything came together so quickly on the sale, I didn't have time to drop the transmission. People were scared of the clutch. It's like an $800 job. You'd think it could be thousands, but pretty simple job, and that car will probably be on the road until 300,000, 400,000 miles. When I made my first video on the Boxster, I was a hardcore through and through 911 Turbo S guy. And I started that video off with, I bought the worst Porsche there is. And that's a pretty scary thing to say on the internet. I want to warn you before you go around saying that you don't love the Boxster. You will get flamed in the comments for not being in love with the greatest driving car Porsche has ever released. So I took a lot of flack for that. Still, at the end of the day, I want 700 horsepower, I want all-wheel drive, I want all-wheel steer, and a modern car with a dual clutch. But I went from a Boxster hater to a Boxster okayer, and that's my story. I'm sticking with that opinion, even if the internet tells me I'm wrong.
This month of VINwiki content is brought to you by Premier Financial Services, and they are the perfect partner in your journey to own your dream car because their Simple Lease is the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. You'll get all the benefits of a leasing structure like lower payments and better tax treatment, along with everything we love about a normal exotic car loan where you can trade in and out at any time, always know where you stand thanks to their amortization table, and accumulate equity for whenever you're finished and ready for the next car. And Premier is great because they're wholly owned and backed by First Financial Bank, which means they have more buying power than any other exotic car bank or collector car bank in the United States, and their customer service is unmatched. Also, rates are lower than they have been in a very, very long time, so it's never been a better time to reach out to Premier, talk to their representatives, learn what you can pre-qualify for, and let them help you own the car of your dreams with Premier Financial Services.